Chuck Swindoll, Christian author and pastor, many of you are familiar with him, once said, "The most dangerous place to be today is not in some distant battlefield dodging bullets and bombs. It's not in the inner city riddled with crime. It's not even in America's prisons. The most dangerous place to be today is in the womb of a woman who does not want her unborn child." To be in the womb of a woman who does not want her unborn child. Now, he said that in 1990, almost 30 years ago. But the same is true today. Since 1973, when Roe v. Wade was passed and abortion was legalized in this country, there have been conservatively more than 63 million babies aborted in the United States. Last year in 2018, in Florida, there were more than 70,000 abortions. In Duval County alone, there were more than 5,500 abortions. That's an average of 17 every day, Monday through Saturday, which is when our 4 abortion clinics are open. So today, while we have been here enjoying this lovely time and all these amazing speakers, 17 babies were aborted in our city. Florida is the third city with the third largest number of abortions in the country. In fact, 52% of all the abortions in the United States happen in only 6 states, and Florida is number 3 of those. So this is a great concern, because I certainly hope that all of you in this room recognize God's sovereignty in creating that child, and from the moment of conception until natural death, that is a child of his, someone that he cares about, that he wants to come to know him in personal relationship through Jesus Christ, and he wants to save. He wants them to be with them for all eternity. And he also wants those mothers and even the young fathers not to suffer the tragedy of having gone through an abortion, which can have a dramatic impact on the rest of their lives. So what is the problem? Well, the problem is not the client. It's not the young woman who shows up at our door saying, "How much do you charge for an abortion?" or calls on the phone, I need an abortion, I have no choice, I'm being pushed in. It's not the client. No woman ever wakes up in the morning and says, "I'm so glad today I get to go and have an abortion." No woman ever thinks that. I heard an author on this subject once compare it to an animal caught in a trap that has to chew off its own leg to get free. These women feel they have no choice. They are trapped. Their backs are against the wall. This is their only choice. This is what they say to us. And we have now, in our 25 years of existence, served more than 30,000 clients. And that is, by and large, they come to us, they are afraid, they feel trapped, they have no choice, they're seeking an abortion, and they think it's going to be the easy way out. So that is not the problem. So what is the problem? The problem is they need to have awareness that there is a safe, compassionate place where they can go to get more answers, to find out there is another way. They need to know about places like us. If we get to see a client first, no matter how abortion-minded or even abortion-determined she is, all of the clients that we see all together, 85% of the time, she will choose life. So we want to be the first place they come. And we are also one of the best kept secrets in town. People don't know who we are, in spite of the fact that we've been here for 25 years, and we now have 5 building locations. Actually, the newest one is coming out of the ground right now up at the River City Marketplace. We have a location in Mandarin, Jacksonville Beach, out in Baker County, in McClenny, in Clay County, in Orange Park. We have a mobile unit that can do the pregnancy tests and ultrasounds that goes all over Jacksonville, especially to the underserved areas. And we are now building this wonderful new center on the north side. And I've just got to mention to you that I feel like our strongest component is a prayerful board of directors. We have 16 people on our board of directors, the most amazing group, and they are totally committed to prayer and trusting the Lord. And I can give you a couple of examples. One is for this new center up on the north side. The board was talking and praying about what we should do because there really were no services on the north side of town, and we're getting clients coming from Georgia, coming from all over the place that have to travel such a long distance. So we were in a board meeting, and as they were talking and praying, they said, I think we need to go up somewhere on the north side. One of the board members pulled out his phone and said, I know some guys, a Christian business group that have land up there near River City Marketplace, which is the busiest, fastest growing area of our city. Picked up the phone, called one gentleman, and he said, well, let me talk to some other guys and I'll call you back. He called him back and he said, we had this large tract of land and we sold it to a skilled nursing facility. And there was one small corner they didn't want. And we thought, why'd you want the whole thing in this one corner you didn't want? He said, and now we know. It's because God had it for you. And so they donated that land to us. Yes. So that's how like Henry Blackaby taught me, that you're finding out where God is working and you're just joining him. We just realized, okay, we're joining God. So now we're in the process of building this building faster than anybody ever would have thought possible. I think it's going to be done before our annual banquet. It's going to be done middle of October. And the funds are coming in. We still need some money. And if you want to contribute to this center, we would love to have your contributions. Or if you know someone who thinks might be interested in this, we'd love to talk with them. But the money is coming in. The staff has just been hired. God brought us exactly the right people for that center up there. We're beginning to look for volunteers, for people we can train to do all that, but it's going to happen. But let me go back and give you just a little bit about our history, because I think that is, first, I mentioned here the response, because I do need to tell you what our response is. There are wonderful ministries helping to fight against this battle for the unborn. There are people, and I met a gentleman today who he and his family stand in front of abortion clinics, and his little children go out there. And there are things we do. There are life chains there where they stand all up and down the sidewalks in Clay County and out at the beach area. There's ways you can help elect legislators who will really fight for the unborn. There are all those things. What we do is a little bit different than that. We want to be the people, when they come to us, they see the hands and feet of Jesus Christ reaching out to them. There is no judgment, no condemnation of any kind, no talking down to them. We treat them the way Jesus treats us, that he looks at us and he wants to embrace us. We receive everyone, doesn't matter where they're from, what they've done. I've heard stories. I keep thinking I won't hear anything else stranger, and then you hear even more. We've had all kinds of people come to us for help, and we want to help them. We want them to leave there and know that they were loved well and that they were given the truth. Everything we do is free. We do free pregnancy tests, free options counseling, because they know they have three choices. They have the choice of abortion, of becoming a parent, or of adoption. We want them to know the truth about all three of those options, because they're not going to hear the truth about abortion when they go to the abortion clinic. So they need to hear the truth about that, not in a frightening, scary way. We don't show gory, bloody pictures. We show them actual medical facts and information. We let them see a sonogram of that baby. And of course, that makes a tremendous difference. Because most of the clients that come to us, they're 8 or 9 weeks. Now, a mother is not even feeling movement at all at that point. But when that little baby, who's about this big, we shoot it up on a screen that big, and the baby's moving because it has all the room in the world. Even though she doesn't feel it, that baby's moving around. It could be sucking its thumb, moving its legs. And so the woman, at least 85% of the time, she'll choose life. If the husband, the father of the baby, the boyfriend most likely, or if she's very young, maybe her own father, see that ultrasound, it goes to over 98% of the time. He will choose life. He will want her to save that baby, because know it or not, understand it or not, Christian or not, that man has a God-given instinct to protect life. That's the way God made you men, to be protectors of life. So he wants to protect that life, even if he's not going to be much help afterwards. He wants her to protect that life. But we have male mentors. And speaking to a group of mostly men, I want to tell you how valuable men are to this ministry. From about 2008, we recognized the value of men and began a men's ministry. We try to have a male mentor on every shift in every one of our centers and on the mobile unit. So when that young guy comes in and thinks he's just dragged here and he doesn't really have an opinion, he has a man a Christian, mature man to speak with, to talk about, well, how do you feel about this? Well, you need to talk to her. Well, I just want her to do whatever she wants to do. What you guys may not realize is when a woman hears that, it says to her, you're on your own. It's your decision. You're on your own. What she needs to hear is, I'll help you with this. I'll stand with you in this decision. If she has just one man in her life who says, I'll stand beside you in this difficult time, then that makes a huge, huge difference in her ability to choose life. So the women that come to us, as I say, if we can get to them first, and we try to provide all kinds of things to help them. We've been doing this since, saw our first client in 1994. Like in so many other organizations, nonprofit, parachurch ministries, we started with a couple in Mandarin, the Ash Hours, whose young daughter was pregnant. They didn't even know that she was sexually active, so of course, they were upset. But once they got over that, they went to their church, wonderful church, and who's still a major part of our ministry, and said, how can we help? And they helped them through that pregnancy, and she placed her daughter, her baby, for adoption. Adoption is a wonderful option. Most people don't understand it. These young women don't understand it, so they're ready to immediately disregard it. But we get a chance to talk to them about adoption and what a great opportunity it is, what a sacrificial thing it is to provide a baby for those thousands of people out there which would love to adopt a baby at any time. And so she chose adoption for that baby, but the mother of this girl, Sarah Ashour, later said, there really wasn't much help in our community for our family or for my daughter. So she contacted a group in Washington, D.C. called the Christian Action Council, later to be called CareNet, and ordered a manual, how to start a crisis pregnancy center. She got together in the Mandarin area, a group of pastors. They had a breakfast. Then they said, we need to raise money, so they had a banquet, and they invited Representative Henry Hyde from Washington, who has now passed away, but was always such a strong proponent for life in our national government. He came and spoke. They raised money. They opened a little storefront place on Sunbeam Road and started seeing the first client in 1994. In 2000, we moved into the location we now have in Mandarin, which is our largest location on San Jose. Started almost immediately doing ultrasounds. We do ultrasounds at every one of our locations. We have a medical director who reads every scan, a nurse manager. All of our sonographers are either registered nurses who have been trained to do sonography or RDMS sonographers. That's the highest level of training for sonography. Everything in this organization, and I've only been there 13 years, so I give credit to the people back in 1992, Ginger Sad, sitting at the back of the room, who was on our very first board of directors. From the very beginning, it was done with excellence. Everything was done with excellence, and it has caused the fact that I don't have a lot of problems. We don't run into a lot of problems, and certainly not legally, because everything we do, we follow the law explicitly. Everything we're allowed to do within the law, we do it exactly right in terms of our advertising, in terms of every single thing that we do. So it started with the needs of that one family, and it has continued and grown over the years to now we're opening this new center because, as most of you know, the recent legislation that they're going to have in Georgia will not allow abortions in Georgia, which is a wonderful thing. But what that means is they're all going to be heading down 95 to Duval County, which is the only county in this area that does abortions. All around us, Nassau, Clay, Baker, St. John's, they don't allow abortions. So they're all happening in Duval County. Now, we have centers in some of those places because we can get to them before they ever even try to come to Jacksonville. That's great. But we also know if we are right up there in North Jacksonville, where they're coming down the highway and they can come to us first, that it will be able to, at least 85% of the time, get them to change their minds and choose life. As I said, we've served over 30,000 clients. Every year, the number of, and we call them abortion-minded or abortion-vulnerable clients, either they call us and say, how much does an abortion cost? And of course, we never lie. We never tell them that we do them. We usually would start out by saying, are you sure that you're pregnant? Would you like to come in for a free lab-grade pregnancy test and to see if you even have a viable pregnancy? We don't do abortions or refer for them, but we can offer you many other services to try to, wanting them, of course, to come to us first. But if they do come to us and they receive those services, then from that point on, we go to a lot of other services. I've given you a book on your table, and they're kind of in the middle of the table. They look like this. If you just pass those around to everyone, looks like this. If anybody doesn't have one, if you raise your hand, Glenda will bring one to you. And you're welcome to keep this. It starts out with our mission statement and our commitment of care. One wonderful fact is the fact that we do not receive any government funding. We don't apply for it. We actually don't want it, because the fact that we do not, and that we are simply supported by the body of Christ, individuals, churches, Christian foundations. Therefore, we are completely free to share the good news, the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we always pray for an opportunity to do that. We don't force it. We ask permission for two things with the clients. May I share with you abortion procedures? And may I share with you, I might put it a lot of different ways. Maybe start out by saying, a man who knows where you are right now and is not going to leave you like this boyfriend just did. Or can I share with you how that we can bring God into this situation? Now with the men, and you guys will appreciate this, the men are like men in there's like a guy in a foxhole. When the male mentor says to him, can I bring God into this situation? They usually say, bring anybody in you want, anybody, that's fine, bring God into this situation. But so the male mentors actually get more frequently opportunities, at least percentage-wise, to share the clear gospel message than even the women do. Sometimes the women are totally focused on pregnancy. They don't want to talk about God. They don't want to talk about spiritual things. They just want to talk about, how do I get out of the situation that I'm in and I have no choice. But you see in this booklet everything, our commitment of care, that we're dedicated to all their options. We serve any client that walks through our doors. Now, to be a board member, a volunteer, a staff member, we have a very strict statement of faith. We really, pretty much the Nicene Creed is our statement of faith, only we even elaborate it to make sure people really understand what it is they're talking about. So all of that we follow. Everything we tell them is backed up by reputable medical resources. We don't exaggerate. We don't try to scare them. They're frightened enough. We really just try to love them. And so what I'm going to do, actually, before I even go into this booklet, which is sitting right there, if I can ask you just for a couple minutes, I think the best way to explain this is I'm going to show you a short video of two of our clients, and they came to us with very different situations, but I love the way you see how God met them right where they were. just want to tell you about a few of the things that we have, that we offer, because there early on in this battle was for life, there was the criticism that all that we for life people cared about was saving the baby. And I think it might have even been justified. I remember that was what I was most concerned about many years ago. But that's not true. We really realize that often the pregnancy is just the presenting problem. It's just the tip of the iceberg. The bigger problem is they need to either come to know Christ, or, as many of our clients, we're already Christians but have walked away from their faith and are believing the lies of the world. They need a chance to be brought back into that and get reconnected with a wonderful local church. And so we do many things to try to promote that. But if you open up your little booklet, the second page, it says Earn While You Learn. The clients can stay with us for at least a year, all through the pregnancy, and at least a year afterwards, taking classes that they need, like how to parent, breastfeeding, shaken baby syndrome, everything, finances, all kinds of classes, and they earn, because everything's free, they earn free cribs and mattresses, baby layettes, baby clothes, and that is information they need, but it's also valuable because it keeps them coming back in and meeting with that same mentor every 2 or 3 weeks all through the pregnancy and beyond, knowing that things in their life can change suddenly. The great majority of our clients are single women, and often all of a sudden losing the job or breaking up with the boyfriend can throw them right back into thinking, oh my gosh, now I have no choice again. But if they're continuing to meet with their regular mentors, they can help them work through those obstacles that come up in their life during that time. They have somebody to talk with, someone to share with, and we've now added a continuum of care person to help them find even more resources than we've ever been able to find before, especially some of the ones we've had clients living in cars. They're pregnant, they already have 2 children, and they're living in cars. There's just unbelievable things. We have a lot of homeless clients out near our beach center, and they need a lot of care and a lot more resources than we can provide by ourselves. Flip to the next page, Exploring Adoption. Talks about the adoption. We have a wonderful program one of our volunteers created for presenting adoption to our clients so they recognize it for the wonderful option it is now, that the young mother can pick the family. She can pick what kind of family. She can pick the kind of contact she wants to have with them. It's not like you saw on Lifetime movies all those years growing up, or even maybe experiences of some of us know of people our age who were adopted. The next one, Operation Fatherhood. We have a whole program for the fathers, materials for the male mentors to use with the young men, and sometimes not so young men, to teach them about fatherhood and what it means and their responsibilities. Then the next one is the Beautiful program. That's because if they come in and have a negative test, we don't want to say to them, well, go away and we'll see you again in 3 months. They need to find out, how can I change the life that I'm living? Why would I be selling myself so cheaply to give up sex thinking I'm going to get love? And this is all based around understanding who they are in God's eyes, the value that they have, what they're worth, and that they are worth waiting for. So that's something they can, if they have a negative test, come back in for 3 weeks and go through that with someone. Hope and Healing is a ministry for people who have had miscarriage, stillbirth, or early infant loss. That's the losses that many people are never allowed to grieve. I know I've heard from men say, well, I didn't know what to do. I thought, well, I'm just supposed to get dressed and go to work, and we act like it never happened and we don't talk about it again. Well-meaning friends will say, well, you'll get pregnant again, just forget about it. That's not true. They need a chance to grieve it. The fathers need a chance to grieve it. The grandparents need a chance to grieve it. And we provide one-on-one mentors who have had a similar loss, who have been trained. They're just peer counselors, just like you and me, but they've been through a loss and they have training how to talk with someone, how to comfort them, just to be somebody they can communicate with. Forgiven and Set Free. That's the Abortion Healing that they mentioned just a minute ago. The women go through it in small groups, 3 or 4 women with a couple mentors. If a man wants to go through an abortion healing, he goes through it one-on-one with a man who himself has experienced this. There's a memorial remembering the unborn downtown on the property of First Baptist Church downtown that they built together with us, where the babies that are lost, if they're lost to abortion, there are little plaques that the mother can place on the wall. If they're lost to one of the miscarriage early infant losses, they do pave stones and they're down on the pavement. It's just a way to help memorialize what has happened. How you can help is on the next page. Well, first, all our services. As I said, everything we do is free. How you can help. We're looking for all kinds of people resources as well as financial resources. If you can give any of your time, even a small amount, we have ways that we can help. Be sure to hang on to this. The next page tells you where our locations are and our new location, a picture of our building. Our major fundraiser is October 24th downtown at the Hyatt. And I have cards back there on the desk. Just remember, you can go online. It is free, but it is a fundraiser. So we will tell stories and tug your heart and ask you to make a contribution to sow into this ministry. We are, of course, a 501c3 nonprofit, and we would love to have your help in any of those ways. And if I can answer anyone's questions, I'm going to be at the table right back there. Thank you so much. Oh, what I want to end with, where do we want to go from here? Our goal is to end abortion in Northeast Florida in our lifetime. We feel like that's reasonable. We can do that. So that's our goal, to end abortion in Northeast Florida in our lifetime. So if you'd like to help us, we'd love to have your help. Thank you.